Hey, what's up guys? It's me again, TechDoff, and in today's video, if you haven't noticed already, we are going to talk about lighting, and specifically Phanteks lighting. These are the Phanteks Halos Lux DRGB fan covers. So without further ado, let's get right to it, shall we? Alright guys, so these are available on Amazon for about $22, at least that's what I paid for them, and you can get them on either silver color, which I actually got on all of mine, or you can get them in black as well if that's more your style. So those are available too. In terms of what's in the box, I'll open it for you in just a second, but you get 4 screws, 4 radiator screws, so if you want to put these to like a radiator, that's totally cool too. With the Lux version, which you don't get with the original version, which I'll get to in a sec, you also get a motherboard adapter cable. These are available in either 120 or 140 millimeter sizes, so either would work. If you wanted to save some money, they are also available in a non-Lux version, but also 5-volt addressable RGB. Or if you want to save even more money, you can get them in a 12-volt non-addressable option, which is a little bit cheaper as well, but those are not addressable. Although I should say, if you do pick those up in the non-addressable RGB or the non-Lux version as well, you're only limited in the color of black. The material is not made of aluminum, it's made of plastic. The cable is not actually sleeved like they are on these, which is another nice touch I'll show you in just a second. And the motherboard adapter cable is not included. You'll have to purchase that separately. And another nice thing I do want to mention about these is they are daisy chainable with other Phanteks DRGB products. Only DRGB products. You do not want to mix and match 5-volt and 12-volt connections. That'll cause you more than just a few problems. These are compatible with a couple of motherboard softwares, at least that they list: Asus Aura, MSI Mystic Light, although strangely Gigabyte RGB Fusion is not listed, but from what I've seen online there are a couple of workarounds for that, so I wouldn't give up just yet. If you have a Gigabyte board, look around online, you might be able to find some help there. Now with these, there's a couple ways you can use them. You can either plug them directly into a 5-volt 3-pin RGB connector directly on your motherboard, or if you want, which I'm actually going to do because I have an older motherboard, I'm going to actually connect these to the Phanteks digital controller hub, which actually comes in this kit right here, which I'll show you as well. Now the kit has 3 different channels with a max of 4 devices per channel. However, and this is what I should have checked before I bought it, but you can only have a maximum of 7 devices total if controlled by the controller, which I'm going to use. That also comes in the box, or it actually ups it to 9 if you use your motherboard. I'm not sure why this is the case, but that's what it says on the box. So these fan frames actually have a listed weight of about 3.5 ounces, so they're definitely pretty heavy and feel quite premium. All right, and I guess I can show you what comes in the box now. I don't need all of these here, so I'll just show you this one. They're all the same though, whether you get a 120 or 140. So I'll just put those aside. And I guess we'll start with the frame. So I did take the plastic off and poke around it a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing. So it comes in a really nice black cardboard box. It's actually a really nice box. For $20 it better be. So it just kind of lifts off here like so. 120. Thank you for choosing Phanteks. Little documentation here, give you a nice look. See, Asus Aura MSI Mystic Light is supported as well. And here's some of the stuff I already told you. You can pause the video if you want to take a look. I'll just hold that up for you real quick, but pretty much everything I've just said a second ago. And it shows you a little diagram to make things easy for you if you're confused. Nothing on the back. So in terms of what we get in the box, as you can see right here, if I can get these out, I think they just pull out. Yep, your little screws. See if I can give you a better look at that, how long they are. It's kind of hard to, oh shit, kind of hard to do with my fingers here. There you go. Pretty small screws. This is what'll go through the frame right into your fan. So you get 4 of those. Nice little foam here. Keep everything nice and safe during transit. And as I said before, you get these radiator screws, which can actually go right through the fan and the frame into a radiator. And I will actually be using this for that purpose. So it's nice they include 4 of those. I'll just put that right back in there. Really cool box. I love this. And then of course you get the star of the show, if I can get it out. There we go. Is the actual frame itself, and hiding underneath that is that motherboard adapter cable. So I'll just show you this really quick. So this end would go right into your fan. This is the Phanteks connector. Unfortunately, it is proprietary, I believe. And what's not proprietary is this 3-pin motherboard connector. Notice there's 3 pins, not 4, so it'd be hard to mix them up, and they actually don't put the 4th pin there to stop you from frying your electronics, which is appreciated. I like that. So I'll put that aside. And the frame itself, as I said, it's made of aluminum. Pretty heavy, actually. Obviously not going to bend or anything. It's a solid piece of aluminum. I opted for silver, but like I said, it comes in black as well. Should give you a look at the back here. This is where the actual the lighting is housed. It's actually screwed in, and it's no give. It's not loose at all. It's really nice. I like that. And as I said before as well, they actually use a rubber band, interestingly, but this cable is actually sleeved as opposed to just bare rubber like the cheaper version. Not that it matters too much in the grand scheme of things, but for people like me who are super picky about how things look, it's a nice thing to have. And if you're wondering how it's daisy chainable, here you go. It actually has, look from the side, there we go. It actually has 2 different connectors, a male and a female end, so you can kind of, one in one end and then fan, and then just keep jumping down. But there is a limit to how many of those you can do, and I believe it is 4. It's a fairly long cord. I'm not sure exactly how long, but I'll just kind of give you an estimate. It's probably not going to do. It's about the same length as a normal fan, so really nice. Should look really nice on a fan. Little Phanteks branding on the side. See if I can get this to focus for you. There we go. Kind of. It's kind of focused, but yeah, there's a little Phanteks branding on each side. Really nice, though. I know I'm going to like these, so that's what you get in the box with these, times how many you decide to buy. I bought 4 for now. So let's move on. Okay, so if you're buying these fan frames, you're either going to need a connection directly to your motherboard with a 3-pin, if you just want to plug each fan into a header in your motherboard, although you'd probably run out pretty quickly, or you're going to need either this starter kit, which also comes with 2 LED strips, or just the digital controller box, which is also available as well. But you're going to need one of those 2 things, so this is the way I'm going. I have an older motherboard, so unfortunately the better way, which I think the better way, using your motherboard is not available to me, but this will work just fine as well. So this is what comes in the starter kit. Their website, unfortunately, isn't very clear. They don't offer any good pictures or hardly any description at all, unfortunately, but same style of box, nothing too different, just a black simple box. Put that aside. Instruction manual, again, motherboard compatibility, no gigabyte on there, but check online, you might find a workaround. And it gives you some nice little instructions here. You can, I'll try and get this to focus. You can pause the video if you want to check this, but it basically says you can either use the remote or your motherboard to control the lights, and this is what I should have known. Down here on the bottom, I'd take special note of that if you're planning out a system. But here, let me get it to focus for you. Sorry, guys. Oh, it doesn't look like it wants to focus, but pretty much just says you can have a max of 7 RGB products total, 4 per channel if you're using the remote, like I am. So, and just some tips on this side. It actually has magnets built in, which is really nice. I don't have to use any of that sticky crap or anything like that. So, but it's there as an option if you want to use Velcro or if your case isn't metal. So, and just a couple tips here. You can put it outside your case if you want. I'm just going to stick it inside. I'm not going to change the light effects too much, but here's what's included. Surprisingly, this isn't even on the website either. So you get the controller, but anyway, you can kind of see the picture. I'll just go through it with you. The controller, the remote, some Velcro tape, 3 of the DRGB adapter cables, which you actually need for each channel because you have to put one end into the controller itself and the other end into your fan or your LED strip or whatever you want to stick in. So they give you one for each channel. They give you another motherboard adapter cable. So you actually get one in this box plus in each of these that you buy. If you buy the digital Lux, it comes in these as well. So you got to get one of those one way or another. It comes in here if you don't go with those. So you'd be fine there. And you technically only need one if you go with this, because this channel or this box can split off in all your devices. And it also comes with your Sata Power connector, which is nice that it uses SATA. And the tech specs down here, they actually make it really, really easy for you to figure out if your system will be supported or not in terms of if you're using too much power. Other than the dimensions and stuff like that, gives you the length of each cable. But I'll just go through it with you. Max power output total is 7 amps. Per port is 4 amps. Max power overall, 35 watts, 2-year warranty. And to make it nice, especially, I don't think any other company does this. I know Phanteks, well, I know now that Phanteks does it. Every digital RGB product from Phanteks uses exactly 1 amp of power. If your max is 7 amps and each one uses 1, then 1 times 7 is 7. So you can have up to 7 different products and 4 per channel. So those are the instructions. Wish they'd put it on their website, some kind of digital copy or whatever, but they don't, so. All right, what's in the box? First thing, we get the actual box itself, the other box. Magnets are built in, you can't see them, but they're in there. It's labeled input, so your input method is either going to be the remote, which is right here, with 3 different buttons. Pretty tactile, which is nice. Or the motherboard adapter cable, which is probably under here somewhere, that will plug into that and then go right to your motherboard. So that's how you're gonna send commands to this, either motherboard or remote. And Sata Power, pretty straightforward. The cable's probably under there as well. We'll get to that in a second. And your 3 channels. Remember, these are 3-pin digital. So there's your box. And your LED strips right here. See how these come out. They're just kind of coiled up. Cool. And they do have magnets built into them as well. You can kind of see on the back. Every so often there's magnets if you want to do that. Wow, these are nice. Keep in mind, I'm coming from the original NZXT Hue Plus, so these are a little longer than those were. I like this connector a lot more, though. They're probably not as delicate, which I like. You get a male and a female end on either end. And lots of LEDs, a lot more than I remember having on my old LED strips. Yeah, this is a lot more, so there's that as well. And it did say there's adhesive included if your case isn't metal, but fortunately mine is the 760T from Corsair, so you get 2 of these in the box. And as I just touched on, the remote, pretty simple, 3 different controls. There's speed, color, and mode. And underneath the box, or the foam packaging, it looks like you just kind of rip this out. There we go. A little Ziploc bag. So what should be in here, an extension cable. That actually wasn't listed on there, but that's nice to have, especially for LED strips. You don't want to start them right next to your box. You're going to want some spacing, so you probably want to use this for that purpose. You are going to get your Sata Power cable. It's not braided or pretty or anything like that, but it'll get the job done. And another motherboard adapter cable. If you remember, like I just said, it also comes with the fan frames that I showed you a second ago, if you get the digital Lux version. You get another one, or if you don't want to use the fan frames and just go in with LED strips, you'll have one of these in this box. What else is in here? We have, let's see if we can get these out first. Your 3 adapters, as I mentioned before. Each of these 3 ends goes in here, and then your RGB stuff goes on this end. So you get 3 of them, 1 for each channel. Pretty simple. A little piece of Velcro for, I assume, the box. If you don't have a magnetic case, you can stick Velcro on it, stick it to whatever surface you want to stick it to. So, and some adhesive. This is for the LED strips. I was a little confused at first because my old strips actually had it pre-applied to here. So with these, looks like you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get 8 3M strip. Yeah, it's labeled 3M. It's kind of hard to see, but Probably won't be able to see it. It's kind of diagonal. This is 3M, so you get 8 little strips of that. You stick them to your LED strip and then stick your strip to your case. But I'm going to use magnets, so I'll just stick that back in the box. So you get quite a lot for whatever this costed. What was it? 30 bucks, 40 bucks, something like that. I'll put the price on the screen. Sorry, guys. So that's that, and let's move on, shall we? All right, guys, so now that you know what's in the box, I just want to let you guys know from my personal experience what I do like and what I don't like about it, and I'll, of course, show you what it looks like in my system now that it's all set up and everything. First thing, and probably the biggest thing that I like and why I chose to buy these over, say, Corsair, or there's tons of other brands out there, you guys probably know, but it's the fact that you decouple the RGB effect from the fan itself. And what I mean by that is, say you're like me and you already own premium fans from someone, say, Noctua or Corsair, that aren't RGB, but you spend a lot of money on those fans. You don't want to be SOL if you want to go and, say, add RGB fans to your system, because then those fans you already bought are pretty much useless, right? They're not gonna fit in with the rest of your fans, because the other fans come with RGB built in, where this is more of an add-on. So I had some premium fans and I didn't want to waste them, so this definitely fit my use case scenario, but that may be different if you're starting a new system from scratch. So just something to keep in mind there. With that decoupling comes a nice combination of good performance, because to be honest with you, from what I've read online, a lot of these RGB fans are not good when it comes to airflow and performance. They just look really, really nice. So while this may not look the best on the market, you're getting premium performance with a nice RGB look. So that's the number one thing that I like about these, is the decoupling of RGB from the fan itself. You have two separate things. And another thing I really, really like about these is the brightness. These things are really, really bright. And now I think I'm starting to figure out why you can only have so many products, because they're probably pulling so much current for how bright they are. They are LEDs, but these are very, very bright. So I'm definitely feeling that. And next thing that I really like about these, even though I'm not taking advantage of it, is motherboard capability. Now, standards with RGB and PCs has really been all over the place. We haven't really settled on one single standard. I personally think that the cleanest way to do it is probably through the motherboard as opposed to a third party. Although I'm not, like I said, I'm not personally using a digital RGB motherboard header, I do appreciate that choice, that I can either use a third-party remote, which is nice because I don't have to install any extra software, or if you prefer, you can use the motherboard as your control. And if you have that option, I do recommend you use that option, but I don't, so I'm going to use the remote, but I appreciate the choice. That is great that they include that. And I also like the price. And with the price, again, comes options. These are the highest end offering that they have, but if you don't want to spend quite as much money, you can go with the digital RGB frame that's not the Luxe version, which is only available in black, and it's made of plastic as opposed to the aluminum, solid aluminum, and the cable is not sleeved as it was on this one, and you don't get a motherboard adapter cable with it. So you make a few trade-offs, but in your system with all the lights going, you probably wouldn't notice the difference. But unfortunately, if you want the silver color, you do have to get the Luxe, and that is what I did. And I also think it's pretty reasonable compared to the rest of the competition. I mean, some really, really beautiful, admittedly, high-end fans from the competition can go up to $40 or $50 a fan. And you want to put 4 or 5 of those in your system, you're talking $250, man. And that's kind of hard to swallow. Okay, so now that I've told you guys what I do like, I do have to say there are just a couple things that I don't like about these. And what those are is, as I've kind of alluded to throughout this video, is the number of devices that are compatible, or the max current that that the controller can support. Now, I don't know if that's a limit of Sata Power itself, like the connector, how much power can go through it, but each controller, as I said before, can handle 7 1-amp devices when used with the controller, or up to 9 1-amp devices when used with a motherboard. And you are able to use more than one controller per system, but they will not sync together. Unless, of course, you have 2 digital RGB motherboard headers, then you could sync up to 18 devices that way, but I do not. So my options are a little limited, and that is something that I don't like. I wish that more products were available per controller, but it is what it is. And I do appreciate that it's just simple addition, that each device uses 1 amp, so you can add it easily. All right, guys, so the bottom line is, kind of my final thoughts. Would I buy these again? Yeah, I definitely would. I think they look really, really nice. And since they fit my specific use case, not having a digital RGB controller and already having premium fans, I think these are a pretty relatively inexpensive way to spruce up your system, especially if it's older and you don't have a addressable RGB header. Like I said, I already had premium fans, so I didn't want to buy all new RGB fans. I easily could have just jumped into a different ecosystem, but that would involve spending even more money and wasting the fans that I already have. With that, as I said before, you're also getting the performance of your premium fans instead of going to what oftentimes in the industry seems to just be a pretty fan that performs pretty bad. I do appreciate this decoupling, as I talked about earlier. It's simple, honestly. 2 separate wires, one for your fan, one for your RGB controller. That's about all I had for you guys in this video. If you have any questions, please ask below. I'm usually right on top of questions. If I didn't touch on something in this video or if something wasn't clear, ask below and I will answer you ASAP. And I do appreciate you guys joining me if you made it this far. Thank you for watching, and I will have another video up soon with some of the other RGB products you've probably seen in my case. We'll talk about those next. So till then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.